All right, let's talk Oregon Ducks. Obviously, a disappointing into the season, but it's clear the Ducks are one of the top programs in all of college football. And you get there by winning in the recruiting game and transfer portal. And there are some new reports coming out that the Ducks could be poised to make one of the massive, I think probably the biggest shockwave in the recruiting world. We've got a great update for you guys. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, let's jump right into this really wild recruiting story involving the Oregon Ducks. This is courtesy of SI.com. On his social media, wide receiver and number 6 ranked recruit in the class of 2026, Chris Henry Jr., seems fully sold on the Ohio State Buckeyes. However, the Oregon Ducks are making a move to sway Henry Jr. away from Columbus and flip the commitment of the 5-star receiver. Henry Jr. has continued to take visits after agreeing to join the Buckeyes. That's interesting, right? He committed, but he's still taking visits elsewhere. Since his commitment, Henry Jr. stopped by 3 different programs: Penn State, September 2023, long time ago; Oregon, November 9th, 2024; and USC, November 16th, 2024, obviously last November. Very interesting. My interest in Oregon is definitely up there. I would put them right behind Ohio State, Henry Jr. said to 24/7 Sports just this week. When you look at a program like Ohio State that just rolls out top 5 picks, top 10 picks, first round picks at wide receiver, they got a great one in Jeremiah Smith. You would think if you're a top recruit, you would not consider any other program. But the fact that Henry Jr. is actually considering Oregon right behind Ohio State, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of momentum that the Ducks could pull off maybe the biggest recruiting move of the year. I think they actually get it done. I think they send a shockwave through the college football world with this one. Miles, I know you've got a few thoughts on this, but first, Ducks fans in the comment section below. As we get ready and closer to spring ball, what's one position group the Oregon Ducks really need to have some young guys step up, right? Obviously, you're going to have some transfers come in, some recruits come in, but there's sometimes you just got to rely on guys already on your roster, ready to take that leap and become a better team, filling out the depth, new starters emerging. Give us the one position group where you expect to see some young Oregon Ducks step up this spring and become leaders in a position group. It needs to happen. Let us know in the comment section below what that group is. But Mize, over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest move involving Oregon?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really intriguing move. A couple other points to add, some things I left off on accident, but he actually visited Oregon last week for their junior day, one where they get all the best recruits in the country over to Oregon. So he was there as well. And something else, a little bit trivial, but also a little bit interesting. Just the other day, on the 5th of February, he was shown wearing an Oregon tracksuit playing out on the field. I don't know if it means a whole lot, but it's certainly, like you said, very, very interesting. But the other key here for me, the interesting part is I feel like Oregon smells blood in the water with the departure of Chip Kelly. I think that is a major factor in some of these recruits. Now that Chip Kelly is gone, he's gone to the Raiders. There is a little bit of turmoil as far as things go in the way of offense. Who is the new offensive coordinator be? Are they going to play me more? Am I going to have the same level of favorability as I did with Chip Kelly? That's what a lot of these recruits are thinking to themselves. And then they think, hey, I'm a 5-star recruit. I'm one of the best players in the country. I can go anywhere I want to. But then you hear Oregon. Well, Oregon, that's a pretty good school. They've always been, doing a lot of really great things offensively. I think maybe I can shine there. Ohio State, they have their stars. Oregon, they haven't really had, a superstar wide receiver like the Alabamas of the world or the Ohio States of the world recently. Maybe I could go be a star there. So I think this would be a really interesting move for Oregon. I think the fact that they're going after this guy at the right time shows they feel like there's a flip here. I think there's a possibility with all of this changeover at Ohio State. Oregon has caught this at the best possible times, like you said. I think it's going to happen. I think this is a guy destined to flip the Oregon. There's too many signs pointing to it, and I would look for it. Maybe not anytime in the next few weeks, but I would see this guy coming down the stretch. I think eventually he's going to be an Oregon Duck.
So we've got breaking news when we're filming this. By the time you guys see it, it won't be breaking news, but Ohio State has named their new offensive coordinator. And this is very interesting to this particular story, courtesy of ESPN. Ohio State is set to promote Brian Hartline, their receivers coach, to its primary offensive coordinator, replacing Chip Kelly, and he will have him, Brian Hartline, will handle play calling, sources confirmed to ESPN. So think about that for a second. This is a big dynamic shift in Oregon's favor. Here's why. When you're an assistant coach and that's your priority, assistant coach and recruiting that position, you've got a lot of time and responsibilities where you are just dealing with recruits, calling them all the time, working with them all the time, because you obviously are only focused on your position group. When you're the offensive coordinator, you're now focused on the offense as a whole. You're reporting to the head coach, especially Ryan Day at Ohio State, offensive minded head coach daily, right? You're working with your staff all the time. You're trying to develop the entire offense, figure out strategies, figure out the quarterback position, the most important position on the field, obviously. So if you move away, your Brian Hartline, your top recruiter, the guy who all wide receivers love to go to Ohio State to play for, you take him out of that role, it opens up a vacuum of recruiting in Ohio State. Is anyone ready to step up to fill that void? We don't know, but we know Oregon is putting on a full court press, like you mentioned, for Henry Jr. here. I think this is a great sign that Oregon pulls off this move. Now, look, I'm not saying it's a done deal. Ohio State's still the favorite. But if you look at the trend and now you look at the fact that Chris Henry Jr.'s recruiter is now going to be distracted, dealing with drawing up X's and O's, reporting to the head coach and working with his staff as opposed to calling him 3 times a day, I think that opens up the opportunity for Oregon, and I think they pull it off here. Like you said, don't be surprised. It won't happen tomorrow, but over the coming weeks, maybe a few months, Henry Jr. flips his commitment from Columbus and commits to going up to Eugene, Oregon.